Hey everybody, in this game I played the Scotch Gambit and really kept up the pressure in the mid-game, leading to a pretty elegant checkmate. So e4, e5, we bring out our knights, fairly standard. I push the d-pawn offering the Scotch Gambit, he accepts, I bring out my bishop and we're full on in the Scotch Gambit. He plays this weird counterattack I've never seen before, but I'm pretty sure that's a mistake because I can just recapture either with my bishop or the pawn. I opt for the pawn, putting pressure on his knight to retreat to one of these squares or to push out this way, but it's putting a lot of pressure on his knight. He goes for this wild counterattack where it looks like he's attacking my bishop over here, forcing me to move. You probably all see it, but I could actually have just taken his knight for free because there's nothing defending it, but in the heat of the moment, I totally missed that. So I throw this check with my bishop to get it out of being attacked. Plus, with the bishop and the pawn here, I'm putting a lot of pressure. He can't really block it with a pawn or this knight without really screwing up his pawn structure. So he blocks it with the bishop instead. I'm happy to do the exchange, and at this stage, I could just castle with the idea of eventually attacking him on the e-file, and that is appealing to me, but I also kind of want to get rid of his annoying pawn. So I bring my queen out, and now I'm covering a lot of squares in the middle, and I do have this set up for a castle. Meanwhile, he doesn't really have much development at all going on. He moves his knight again. I feel like he's moving his knight a lot of times in a row in the beginning of a game, which is not ideal. So he is obviously counterattacking this pawn now with these two pieces. So I continue my own development and shore up that pawn a little bit. He develops by bringing out his bishop. Instead, I go ahead and castle, solidifying my castling advantage with the idea that I'm eventually going to slide the rook over to put pressure on his king. And here it looks like he's just setting up a kingside castle and completing his own development, which is a totally fine move. But I complete my development this way, the idea being that if he does castle on his next move, I can do this exchange, and once he takes back, I actually win a pawn, but now I also have my queen putting a ton of pressure on this busted castle structure, and I can eventually start bringing up my other pieces to really put the screws on. Instead of castling though, he does this weird counterattack on my queen, and I don't panic and move my queen away. Instead, I stick to my earlier plan of sliding my rook over to the open e-file to put pressure on his king. And here, I'm guessing his best move probably would have been to just block it somehow with, I don't know, either of these pieces would have been fine. But instead, he moves his king out of the way. But I feel like this is risky. I feel like a traditional castle would have been a lot safer, especially because I still have so many attacking pieces here that can still put pressure on his king. So again, rather than retreat my queen away, I guess this would have been a decent counterattack as well to get my queen to safety and keep the pressure on his king. But instead, I opt for this check with my knight. The idea being he can't go this way because of my pawn, and I'm gonna either force him deeper back into a retreating posture, and if he goes this direction, I'll have some nice discovered attacks that I could play. Instead, he does the exchange. I'm happy to recapture with the queen because now I have two pieces on the e-file, but I'm also threatening this knight, which is not being defended by anything. I think he totally misses that though, because he tries to kick my queen by contesting the e-file, but I'm happy to just grab the free piece, which also comes with a check. And this is actually a pretty good check, because he can't really block it with the rook, because I'll just take it with the pawn there, and I'm happy to do that exchange. He also can't just further retreat this direction, and he can't go this way because my pawn is covering it. So given that, it kind of forces him to this d6 square, which again, there are a lot of threats I can do here. I can throw a check with the bishop, or I can bring my knight into the attack. I opt for the bishop attack here, just it felt better. And again, not a lot of squares that he can go to. If he wants to block with the rook, it just loses the rook because I'll just recapture with the bishop or the queen in this situation. So it really draws his king further into the wilderness, and Again, a lot of different ways I could attack him here. I could continue the attack with the bishop, but I like this little discovered check here with the queen and the pawn. He can't retreat or capture it back because the bishop is defending that pawn. And like I said, he doesn't have a lot of great squares to go to. He can kind of come deeper into the wilderness, but man, I wouldn't want to do that. Meanwhile, these squares back here aren't particularly safe because my knight is covering this square and I'm just going to slide my queen over. He opts for that option, and I'll be honest, I kind of didn't realize that this actually was a full-on checkmate because yeah, the queen is covering here and he cannot capture this pawn because of the bishop. But yeah, let me know in the comment section what you thought of this Scotch Gambit and how I pressed my advantages without worrying about the queen in the middle of the game. Anyway, thanks for watching, hope you're having a good day, and I'll see you in the next chess game.